There's a moment quiet, almost invisible, when a woman begins to fall for you. It doesn't start with fireworks. Doesn't start with a confession. Starts with something also subtle. Most men never even notice it. It starts with a shift in the way she speaks to you. Not the words themselves, but the emotions behind them. You see, when a woman is developing real feelings, she doesn't shout it from the rooftops. She won't always text you with heart emojis or write a long paragraph pouring out her emotions. That's not how it works. Especially not with a woman who guards her heart. The truth is, most high-value women aren't going to beg for your attention. They want chase. They won't tad men it a trite. What they will do is drape hints, very specific, very carefully chosen hints. Woven into normal conversations, these phrases might seem casual, ordinary. You've probably heard them before and brushed them off, but that's the mistake most men make. They assume she's just being friendly. They assume it doesn't mean anything. And because of that, they miss their moment. They miss the opportunity to connect deeper emotionally, intellectually, and energetically. All because they weren't trained to listen to what a woman actually means when she speaks. What if I told you that some of the most powerful signs of attraction come not through her body language, not through her eye contact, not through her touch, but through a few soft, subtle sentences slip out when she feels safe, curious, and vulnerable around you? That it's not just about what she says. It's when she says it, how she says it, why she says it, when no one asked her to. Because when a woman begins to develop feelings, not surface-level lust, shallow attention-seeking, flirtation, but heartsy-centered emotional interest, her subconscious starts to the waters. She starts to reveal bits and pieces of her inner world. Nato everyone, not toth guy who's trying too hard. Not toth man who's seeking validation, but toth man who simply holds space. To the man who listens with calm intensity, toth man who doesn't trust, the man who doesn't need her approval, but still makes her feel seen. That's who she opens up to. That's who she begins to signal, not with grand gestures, but with certain phrases. Shadow synth Sado, just anyone. If you're not emotionally grounded, you'll miss it. If you're distracted trying to impress her, trying to get her to like ho, you'll miss it. But if you can stay present, stoic, aware, observant, you'll catch these rare cues when they appear. And here's the truth that stings for a lot of men. Women do speak up when they start to feel something real, but they do it in code. And if you don't understand the language, she assumed we're not interested. She'll emotionally retreat and you'll never even know you were this close to having everything you wanted. So, in this video, I'm going to give you the translation key. We'll break down 5 specific things a woman will say when she's catching real feelings for you. And I'll show you exactly why they matter, how to respond, and what they're all about the way she sees you. Because when you learn to code these subtle phrases, you stop chasing women. Don't care. You stop doubting yourself. You stop wondering if's playing games. And you start recognizing with total confidence when a woman is quietly falling for you. Even if she hasn't admitted it to herself, yet this in theory this is emotional truth. This is female psychology, and by the end of this video, you'll hear women completely differently. Let's begin. Welcome to Stoic Stream, the one place where we don't sugarcoat attraction and don't run from emotional truths. Hairu, break away from the shallow noise. We don't chase validation. We didn't guess. We observe. We understand that I lead. Because a man who understands a woman's psychology doesn't need to ask if she's interested. He already knows, not Baka. She told him directly, but Becca. He's trained himself to see faces that others miss. Doesn't look for dramatic confessions or performative affecti. He listens to her patterns. He notices the shifts, the pauses, the unspoken meanings hiding behind what seems casual. You see, when a woman is developing feelings, and I'm not talking about surface-level attention or lust. I'm talking about real emotional investment. Something changes in her communication. She begins to speak to you differently, not with louder words, but with deeper ones. Not with more affection, but with more vulnerability. And the moment you learn to recognize his cues, everything changes. Suddenly, you stop wasting energy chasing women who were never emotionally able. You stop getting blindsided. 1. A girl you thought was just a friend starts pulling away because you missed her emotional cues weeks ago. You stop operating in the dark and start standing in clarity. Now, let me be clear. Women are emotional creatures, but that doesn't mean they're irrational. In fact, their language is precise if you know how to listen, because every emotionally charged sentence they say, every little offhand mark, every casual compliment, every late-night message that starts with "it probably shouldn't say this," but is apt psychological breadcrumb. And most men, they step right over it. Why? Because Noon ever taught them that female attraction isn't always loud. It's soft. It's subtle. It's strategic. Women didn't always confess when theory falling. That's a risk. They protect your heart. They don't want Tobthian who cared more. So, instead, they drop hints, they test. They express their feelings in ways that give them just enough cover to retreat if you don't feel the same, but if you do feel same and you recognize her signal, you've opened the door to something deeper than just physical attraction. That's what this video is about. This is some recycled list of pickup tips. This isn't manipulation. This isn't game. This is auto-coding of the emotional language women actually using. Their hearts are starting to shift toward you. I'm going to walk you through 5 very specific things a woman will say when she's developing real feelings for you. And each one comes with a psychological reason why it matters, what it reveals, and what you need to do the moment you hear it. These phrases may seem small to the untrained men, but to the grounded high-value men, they are signals of emotional laxness, and if you respond with calm, confident energy, if you don't freak out, chase, or overthink, she feels some even more rare safety. Because here's the paradox. The more deeply a woman feels for you, the more vulnerable she becomes and the more fear she hides behind casual phrases. That's why your job isn't to push. So, understand to hold space for her emotional honesty even when it's quiet. And if you can. You don't just beck the man she likes, you become none. She trusts the man she opens her soul to. The man she thinks about at 2 a.m. The man she compares every other man to. And none of them measure up. So get ready, because what you're about to hear will permanently change how you understand women. Let's break down thy first phrase she'll say when she's sketching real feelings for you and why it's far more powerful than "I love you." 1. I've never told anyone this before. You're sitting there. Maybe it's over coffee. Maybe it's a text that came in at 1:37 a.m. Or maybe it's one of those long walks where the night makes people say things they usually keep buried. Anon quietly, Cautiously she says it, I've never told anyone this before. Now, most men don't think twice about that sentence. They smile. They nod. They're flattered she's opening up, but they don't realize what's really happening here. And it's huge because women are not emotionally careless, especially not with their vulnerability. For most women, emotional intimacy is occurred. And it's not something they just give away to anyone they're talking to. When she says this phrase, it's telling you two things. 1, that here's something personal and important coming. And 2, that you are not just another guy. You've passed a quiet test as see, this phrase only comes out when a woman trusts you, and not just I think you're in his trust, I'm talking about the kind of trust that says you feel safe enough for me to be unfiltered. I'm not performing. I'm not trying to impress. I'm revealing. Most women live their lives wearing armor, smiling when they don't want to, laughing when they're exhausted, keeping their real thoughts locked away because too many men use them, twist them, or run from them. But when a woman begins to catch feelings, her emotional walls start to shift, not fall down, shift. She doesn't drop of everything at once, that's too risky. Instead, she offers you a glimpse, a small piece of her emotional truth, and watches how you respond. And the phrase, I've never told anyone this before, a doorway into her emotional world. Now, here's what separates high-value men from the rest, what you do in that men. Most men interrupt. They downplay it or they make it about themselves. Oh, yeah, I went through something similar once. No, that kills moment. A grounded man does the opposite. He listens fully, quietly with his entire presence, and no judgment, no rush. No need to fix her. Just space, strong masculine, unwavering space for her to be real. That's what women crave. Because when a woman shares something deeply personal, a childhood wound, insecurity, a moment she regrets, a family secret, and you don't flinch, you didn't pity her, you don't try to explain it away, something powerful happens. She emotionally bonds to you. That bond is not physical. It's not verbal. It's chemical. Neurological. Her brain starts to associate you with safety. And once that association is formed, you're not just a crush anymore. You're something more to so. The next time a woman says, I've never told anyone this before. Pause, look her in the eye. Let her feel your stillness. Because what she's really saying is, I'm starting to trust you. And I want to know. Can you handle ethereal me? 2. I feel like I can be myself around you. At first glance, it sounds like a generic compliment. You've probably heard it in movies, maybe even from friends. You just feel easy to talk to. I can totally be myself with you, but when a woman you're dating or just getting to know says this to you with sincerity, pay attention because this Sony goes deeper than most men realize. When a woman says, I feel like I can bend myself around you, what she's actually saying is, you don't make me feel like I need to perform. You don't make me feel like I have to pretend. I feel safe dropping the mask and still wanted. And thoughts rare for a woman. Very rare. You have to understand something powerful about female psychology. Most women are constantly adjusting their energy based on who they're around. That they're taught tomo when they re uncomfortable. They're taught to be agreeable, polite, cute, feminine, sexy, depending on who's watching. They carry an invisible pressure every day to fit into the version of themselves that's most acceptable. So when you come along, Andy, our presence doesn't demand anything. All right. When you're not fishing for compliments, not seeking validation, not pushing her toe, be more fun, more chill, more hot, ethos are often the best way possible. Bez, Yuri unaffected. You're not trying to win her. You're just being. That energy is grounding. And in that energy, she feels the rarest thing of fall. Freedom to laugh awkwardly, to talk about something weird, to ask a dumb question, to cry without explaining why, to admit she's tired, to let her guard down, not because you forced her to, but by Kosu didn't. And here's what most men mean. When a woman says she can be herself around you, she's giving you a green light emotionally, subconsciously, spiritually. She's saying there's something different about you, I don't feel the need to perform. I feel safe just existing. That's not about looks. That's not about money. That's not about status. That's about energy. Your grounded masculine presence gives her permission to relax into her natural feminine energy. No act, no filter, no fear. That's why women fall hard for Stoic men. Not the cold kind, but the rooted kind. The man who doesn't try to impressando, as in Chase. The man who listens without trying to fix. The man who doesn't need attention because he already has intention. That's the man she can be herself around. That's the man she trusts. That's the man she starts to picture in her future. Even if she hasn't admitted it to herself yet. So next time she says, I just feel like I can be myself when I'm with you. Don't just smile and say thanks, recognize it for what it is. A sign of emotional unlocking, a gateway to deeper connection. A rare moment where she's showing you her soul and asking, can it stay here? And if your energy is strong enough, she will. 3. What are we or where is this going? This is the one that tends to scare most men. And that's exactly why it matters. When a woman looks you in the eye and says, what, or where is this going? What she's really doing is handing you a moment after. Ruth, most men immediately assimilates pressure. They panic. They feel trapped. They think she's trying to control me. She wants to define things too fast. She's being needy. And with that mindset, they shut down. They avoid the question. They dodge it with jokes. They say things like, let's just see where right goes. Or, we're just having fun, right? But here's the truth. Most men didn't see when a woman asks this question. She's not trying to wrap you. She's trying to see you. She's trying to understand. If the emotional connection she feels is something you're feeling, too. Or if she's being romanticizing zamming, that's only one-sided. And that terrifies her more than it ever will. You understand this, a woman's emotions don't just rise because she likes your face or your job or your style. Her feelings grow from consistency. From presence, from the why you've been showing up in her life intentionally or not. If you've made her law, if you've been there when she'll panned up, if you've seen her unfiltered and still made her feel wanted, she'll feel something whether you meant to itso when she finally asks, where is this going? She's not asking for alibelsh. Asking for clarity, she's suffering emotional vulnerability and watching how you hold it. This is theme where you show what kind of man you really are. A love man avoids the question, he deflects it, he does want responsibility for her emotions so he withdraws, but a grounded man, a stoic emotional liberson man doesn't react. He responds. He takes a breath. He tells the truth. Maybe the truth is I'm still figuring Jet out, booty value what we have. And you want to keep building. Or maybe the truth is I care about you, but I don't want anything serious right now. Either way. The point is this. You face them with calm certainty. No fear, no Jess, just honest leadership. Because when a woman asks this question, she already knows how she feels. She just wants to know if you're emotional and mature enough to handle it. If you can meet her vulnerability without shutting down, she'll feel safer around you than ever has. Not because you gave her the answer she wanted, but because you gave her the truth shend, and in that truth, real attraction deepens. 4. I miss you when she doesn't need to say it. Now, let's be clear. Anyone can say, I miss you. And many do. Sometimes it's flirty, sometimes it's sarcastic, sometimes it's complete leanings, our flex in a conversation, a placeholder for something else. But a woman genuinely says, I'm a Sue. Not out of obligation, not to fill a silence, not as a response, but on her own, unprovoked, unprompted. That's something else entirely. That's feeling speaking, not that's the sound of emotional absence, that's her heart reaching out for your presence. Not your texts, not your attention, but you, because when a woman starts to miss you, it's not always because you're gone physically. It's because something about you lingers in her mind. A conversation, a look, the way you listen without judgment. The way you didn't try to fix her, the way you made her feel like she could breathe. And when that feeling disappears, even just for a day, her body starts to crave it again. Not sexually, emotionally. Bother is the part most men don't realize. A woman doesn't say, I miss you is unless she's desperate or playing a game. High value we women didn't chase, they hint. So when she says this to you seemingly out of nowhere, it's not just affection, it's exposure that she's revealing that her thoughts are drifting toward you. Thatch is noticing your absence, that part of her, even the part she usually guards, wants you there. Now how your span determines everything. You immediately jump in with I miss you too, smiling face with hard ice bleeding face. 100 points fire. You kill the energy. You overdo it. You sound like you were just waiting for Hera Pravalto feel wanted. But if you acknowledge it calmly with presence, not performance, you allow the connection to grow. Something like that's good to hear. I've been thinking about you. 2. Just didn't want to crowd your space. Show strength, emotional maturity, control, and control without neediness's power. Because women don't just miss men who make them laugh, they miss men who make them feel safe inside their emotions. And when she says, I miss unsolicited, it's your cue. She's not just thinking about the past. She's hoping for a future. 5. You're a different. If you ever hear a woman say this, don't just smile and say, thank you. Don't shrug it off like it's casual, 'cause this phrase, perhaps more than any other, is a confession. I've never met a Gui like you before. You're not like most men I talk to. There's something about you. I can't quite explain it, you're just different. Now, let's break this down. What she's really saying here isn't about your haircut, your style, or your job. She's not talking about your hobbies. She's not talking about your Spotify playlist. She's talking about your energy, your presence, the way you make her feel. She's telling you that you disrupted her emotional pattern. 'Cause most men operate from the same emotional blueprint. They chase. They overex. They try to prove their worth. They joke too much, they react too fast. And worst of all, they need her to feel something for them just so they can feel like Ammon. But when you come along and you don't chase, when you don't brag, when you don't flinch in the face of silence, when you can sit across from her with grounded presence and look her in thigh without folding, you stand out. You'll become the calm inner storm. You cometh one guy who doesn't try to perform. You become the man who carries Shimselfike. He knows who he is with or with her. And that shakes her core. That's what your different means. It means you've made her feel something she hasn't felt in a long time, maybe ever. A sense of respect, intrigue, curiosity, calm, desire. She's trying to categorize you and failing. She's trying to predict her behavior and can't. You're not pushing her. You're not begging her. You're not rushing anything. And that can fusses her in the most beautiful way. Back. Most men who want her chase, and most men who don't withdraw, but you're still. You're not chasing, but you're present. You're not attached, booty connected. Not react directly. She reveals it in moments, in tone, in patterns, in 5 quiet sentences that most men miss, but the emotionally aware man never does. She might say, "I've never told anyone this before." That's trust. "I feel like I can mind myself around you." That's safety. What are we? That's investment. I'm Osway. That's emotional attachment. And finally, you're different. That's impact. But the real question now is, what will you do with this awareness? Because knowing these signs means nothing unless you learn how to respond. Most men sabotage the connection after these moments. They get nervous. They say too much. Or worse, they overthink and do nothing. But a high-value man, a stoic man, he responds with calm power, with presence, with stillness. And if you want to take this deeper, if you want to know exactly what to say, when she pins up to you. The phrase is fat. Melt her emotional defenses and build irresistible connection without chasing. I made a full video on it. Tap the one right here on your screen. Because you'll know how to respond when she says these 5 things, you'll no longer wonder if she likes you. You'll know you won't have to ask, analyze, or seek approval. You'll feel it in her voice, her words, her silence, and she will feel something just as powerful in reader. A man who sees her, hears her, and makes her feel safe to want more. DOTSO. Do this. If this video resonate with you, hit that like button. It helps more grounded stoic men find phys massage. Subscribe to the channel. I fear tired off surface level content. You're ready for real psychologic about women and attraction, and smash that bell icon because every week we drop content that cuts through the noise. Content that most men simply aren't ready to hear. This ice-old stoic, where we don't chase, we attract with presence. Where we don't beg, we lead. And where we don't settle for attention, we command respect. I'll see you in the